All right, let's go.
Okay. Hello, Highlanders. Welcome to the Highlander Hot Seat. I'm Brady Phillips.
I'm Dawson Green.
Peyton Stewart.
Gunnar Burt.
Today we are joined by an Olympic trial runner, high school state champion, a Kelso High School record holder in 4 events, a WSU track and field star, Kiana Davis.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back on, Kiana. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our technical difficulties. So 3 of us out of the 4, we're seniors, so we'll be leaving next year. And so we're kind of wondering, like, what you personally, like, miss about Kelso.
Like, honestly, I really enjoyed my time there. I would say, like, the atmosphere and the environment of, like, being a Highlander, the games, the school spirit, all of that. I do really miss that, like, community side of high school.
Yeah, did you get that at, like, WSU? Was there a community side to that? Like, you go to a lot of games there and be part of student sections there?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, like, being a Coug is, like, a huge deal. Like, you'll find Cougs everywhere you go. Like, you travel to another country and someone's there like, go Cougs, you'll see the sign. Yeah, it's a huge community.
That's cool. We might have a new Coug right here in a couple of years. We don't know yet.
Oh yeah.
Here got an offer, so.
Football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm taking unofficial visit there in June.
Next,
I think you'll love it.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part about your time at Kelso? Was it the sports, your classmates, teachers?
Yeah, I'm pretty social, so kind of all across the board. I love the atmosphere. Sports was a huge part of my life in high school. And I kind of made friends just across a wide variety of different groups, and I was always involved in something. So I would say, yeah, just being a part of a bunch of different things was my favorite.
Being a 2-sport athlete and like navigating around it, did you choose to train more for one sport than the other, or how'd that go?
Originally track was just something that I watched my siblings do. I had a lot of fun with it, but it wasn't my original favorite. I loved volleyball more, and I played club sports. So I would say I spent more time in volleyball, but track is something that kind of developed more throughout college for me.
Mm-hmm.
When did you come to realize that you were an elite track and field athlete? Was it a coach or parent that kind of helped you realize this, or did you kind of like, get to a certain stage and like self-realize that I'm at this level now?
I would say I did really well in middle and high school, kind of just like learning about track and trying different events. But actually in college, I went to a smaller school and ended up transferring because I was starting to break records and at my original college, and then I didn't really feel like I was progressing. So I was like, I can go to a different level. And I think that transfer process for me was kind of eye-opening, where I kind of started loving it and realizing, okay, I could go further in this.
Yeah, that's cool. Because Brady Phillips here, he's going to Air Force for football. So
wow.
Brady, yeah. So Brady, when was like the time, like, because you always, obviously your plan was to go to play college football, but when did you realize like this can actually happen? Has it always been like that, or is it like also?
I always doubted, like, just waiting for an offer to come in. It was always like doubting, am I good enough? But I think when I started seeing people that I'd played with around me start to get college looks, I just knew it was going to come, but kind of like manifested and just knew that like it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And then once one came in, they all came in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So could you take us through your traumatic head injury and how you're able to push through that, get back to the elite level you're performing at now?
Yeah. So right after I graduated from WSU, I had stayed around in Pullman for training. And after my first indoor nationals, I came back to Pullman and there was an ice storm and I slipped, hit my head on a concrete ramp. And from there, we kind of realized there was more than just a concussion. I had dealt with hearing issues and I had lost functional speech for a while. So I was down for quite a while, and just in the process of getting back to regular life, I kind of had to make a decision if I was ready to hang my spikes up or not. So I gave myself a year to kind of make that decision, and then I just said, like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. Like, I wanted to prove to myself that I could get back to that level, and I wanted to see where my potential was at in the sport, because that was my original plan. So it really was just, it came down to the mindset of, this is what I want to do.
That's really cool. So I also like, did you have like memory problems with that too? Where you lost some of your memory from that injury?
Not so much memory loss. I would say there was a lot of differences in how I processed. So in
Oh,
how
okay.
I remembered things, or how, just like sometimes I would get confused with like how I used to like try to have a memory. I would be able to picture something in my head before, that changed after. So there was a lot of differences. Yeah.
What were some of the challenges during the pandemic that you faced, whether it was in training or, even competition later on, but how did the pandemic really affect you in your recovery process?
Oh, wow. I would say it was hard emotionally, but honestly, it really benefited me in the long run. I had just came back to track at the end of 2019, and I hadn't exercised in over a year. So coming back in 2020 was supposed to be our Olympic year, and I would have not been anywhere near ready for trials or anything like that, because there was just such a long process of getting back in shape and regaining coordination and things like that. So I would say there was a lot of questioning, like, what are sports going to look like after the pandemic? Are we still going to have this? How long is it going to last? Is there even going to be an Olympics for this cycle? But in the long run, I feel like training wise, it really gave me a little bit of extra time for preparation.
Yeah, that's cool that you found something, like, even though COVID was obviously a terrible thing, like you found something that it actually is part of the reason that you're able to compete and still keep going, because you had that year to
Yeah.
take it off from competition. And then now we're into some more, I think, pretty cool questions. We saw that you played guitar pretty well. So when did that when did that really start? Was that through high school, or like your parents pushed you to do that, or is it something you've picked up in the last few years?
I actually started learning during COVID, so that was another cool thing. I had a lot of time. So yeah, I started learning guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally I took a beginning guitar class at Kelso.
Yeah.
Not quite the level you are yet. Hoping to get
Oh,
there, but I'm working.
cool.
We saw that you have a tattoo on your shoulder, and we were wondering, like what inspired you to get that, and if you have any others, what inspired you to get those?
Yeah, actually, the bamboo is down my shoulder. That was actually a post brain injury thing. I had left Pullman to go home and kind of recover. I thought I was going to be gone for like 2 weeks, because they told me it was just a regular concussion. And then um, about 6 months later, I was still at home, and I was like really upset because I had left all my plants back at my apartment. So I actually ended up flying back to Pullman to get my stuff and shut down my apartment, quit my job. And my bamboo plant was still alive. So we kind of like had the discussion, me and my parents, and they were like, look, something lived out of that. So the bamboo kind of stuck with me, and that's why I got that one. I actually have a few like Bible verses and flowers and random stuff.
Was that something you always thought about getting tattoos, or just it kind of come from inspiration, just from like your brain injury and like going off of that, or is it something you always wanted?
I always wanted them. I have a few inspirational ones, just different verses, and yeah, I have a sound wave of a song that my grandpa sings on the back of my arm. But I would say the bamboo is definitely my favorite, because that's most meaning to me.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on. Anyone have any other closing questions?
Hey, we'll make sure to plug your Instagram in here.
Oh yeah.
And let us know if anything else you want us to plug, any other social media or anything.
All right.
What's your Instagram handle?
At Kiana_Imani.
Okay.
Sweet.
Everyone go follow. Thank you for joining the Highlander Hot Seat, and we will see you guys later.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
See
thank
ya.
you, Kiana.